Hey everybody, this is Frankie with the Uncensored Report, and I'm coming out again. I touched on this a little bit on the other day on a report, and I wanted to hit on it again because it's so imperative with what we're seeing out there. And that's the bias that's in our media. And it's getting really ridiculous. And I thought it was ridiculous at the national level, and I've seen it's even worse at the local level. You got this fourth estate out there, the news media. Okay, and they've had this job. Their job is to go out there and inform the public as to what's happening, even when it comes to our government. You know, back when the United States was formed, we said, look, it's imperative that we warrant some type of protections in the Constitution for people to speak out. The First Amendment, Bill of Rights. The First Amendment basically came in and said that Congress should make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. The press back then, their function was viewed as essential to the republic, and it should still be viewed that way. But it's not being handled that way. Our purveyors, they thought it was important for those who prefer their activities to not receive wide dissemination, and for those people who the courts were trying to keep important information from the public. They thought it was essential to have the news there, to go out there. It was in the public interest. So what's happened out there? You know, the Constitution, it can come in, it can protect those people, protect the media from those who dislike it, and guarantee the freedoms that we all know. But it does not have the ability to enforce what? Integrity, honesty, and fairness in the media. These are qualities that we expect these organizations and these personnel to have ingrained in them. Isn't that what they're teaching these guys at journalism school? We should have thought that they'd adopt some type of ethics in journalism. But I'm seeing that's either a class that's been skipped or a class that's no longer offered. You know, if you when you put these people in certain positions in our society, they have a job and a duty to essentially play it straight down the middle. And I'm not talking about like people like me who are political and I'll say I'm the right and I'm more of a media personality. I'm talking about these mainstream papers out there that are putting themselves out there as papers that play it down the middle and that aren't. They should not be allowing their personal feelings they have to enter into the performance of their job. Case in point, how the local gondolier paper has let their personal feelings interfere with the performance of their job when reporting on me, not even listing me as a mayoral candidate. You know, their newspaper reporters are up there with referees. You can't bring a bias in as a referee against a certain team that you're reffing. Judges. It's critical, and it's necessary for them to walk down the line to make informed decisions. And the mechanisms out there for defending news reporting remain intact. But sadly, the same cannot be said about the ethical imperatives of news reporting. And it's demonstrated daily at the local and national level. And the most glaring example of this in lack of ethics, lack of integrity, has been during the Republican or during the presidential run, the Republican and the Democrats, especially against Donald Trump. You know, if you look at some of the examples out there during the presidential debate, you look at Chris Wallace. He wanted Trump to pledge, he wanted him to pledge to accept the results of the election. Trump's answer was influenced by his all-stated belief that the election system has many flaws, something I believe too, something many articles, many people have gone out and proved and reported on. So he said he'll take a look at it. If I don't see any flaws, yeah, I'll accept it. But if I see there's been some cheating, some flaws in the system, we all heard about Soros owning the Symantec voting machines and his interest in there, then I'm going to have concerns. But they twisted that. Think about how much they twisted it. You know, Clinton came out. She was in dismay. Oh my God, declaring that Trump is undermining the pillar of democracy, the transition of peaceful power. Give me a break. Give me a break, folks. And he wasn't. I mean, just look at Clinton herself. She's been given a free pass by the FBI. Voter fraud across the country and a compliant Clinton media machine have gone out there, and who can blame Donald Trump for wanting to wait until the election is over before deciding whether it was handled fairly? I'm the same way. The way I've been treated unfairly by the establishment and the media here, I'd wait. But these are just small examples, some small examples. You know, I was reading this article the other day, actually today, and it said something about the American soldiers. They can't handle the horrors of the war, which causes PTSD. It's a major issue. But that statement by Trump was distorted to suggest that Trump had disdain for those who suffer PTSD by the media. They have this disdain for Trump, just like the gondolier here has disdain for myself. And as in my case, it's erupting into an open contempt and a collapse of disgracing what should be viewed as a critical component of our society. And how can these guys get out there and try to justify flagrant abandonment of their professional ethics? Think about it. We should all be concerned if they can do this, and they are doing this. You got some reporters out there, some editors, producers that go out and regard people like myself as so bad, and the opponent like Hollick or even Clinton and Trump. Clinton is good, Hollick is good. So standards no longer apply. Journalistic ethics no longer apply. Think about it. Fairness in news reporting has become an obstacle to the media's agenda. And one of the worst possible situations is when the source of the critical public information out there abandons neutrality and takes a side, as we're seeing it here locally with Gando and some parts of the Herald. Widespread corruption in government, widespread corruption in the information system is deadly to our liberty. And we have to stand up and say enough is enough. And that's why media sources like myself, like alt media, are being viewed, and more people are coming to us instead of these rags like the Gando or the Herald. That's why my engagements are probably higher than those organizations, because people are tired of that bias. And I will simply sit there and tell you it's bias. And a lot of times I share the other stuff, and it kills me to share it because I look and the rhetoric they're spitting out, and I know it's not accurate at all, but I share it. But then I'm a different person, and I say right up front, I have right leanings. Everybody knows it. It's not hidden. And I'm a media, I'm not a journalist. So there you go. That's my rant. And what say you? This has been Frankie with the Uncensored